Hey everybody, I'm Megan. I feel compelled to make this video because I've been reading a lot of articles on this whole gluten-free fad, everybody's making it up, it's in your head thing. And obviously if you've read those, you're really interested in knowledge and truth because I'm sure you actually looked at the study. So let me tell you a little bit more that maybe you should know. First of all, I wanted to address something I saw in a blog this morning that said the first study that the same person, Dr. Gibson, did that showed that there was a correlation with non-celiac gluten sensitivity, that it wasn't as reliable, that it was really small. It only had 34 people in it, and it just wasn't as in-depth, I guess. Well, fortunately, the second study had a whole 37 people, so obviously the study is now much more reliable and we can definitely trust it, no doubt about that. We've got this one, we know now. Okay, the second thing I want to address is I actually just listened to a podcast with Dr. Gibson about his study, and I think all of you should be made aware of the fact that the question is not, are people sensitive to gluten if they don't have celiac disease? Rather, the question is what in the wheat is causing the sensitivity? Is it the carbohydrates or the gluten? So all these blogs, and PBS, I'm calling you out right now because you guys posted this too. All these blogs and posts on Facebook that are saying that this study shows that gluten sensitivity is all in your head. You guys obviously didn't read this study. That's not what the study says. But anyways, I'm ranting. Okay, but the reason I want to make this video is because I want to give a face to this issue. I read some person's comment that said, I don't know why you guys are all so sensitive. If you think you have a gluten intolerance or celiac disease, just go get tested. It's not a big deal. Okay, well, I want to enlighten you a little bit. When I first went gluten-free, the research that I did on it said that the average time of diagnosis from onset of symptoms in the US was 12 years because a lot of the doctors didn't know enough about celiac disease. A lot didn't even know to test for it. Okay, so my story, and I really hope you guys listen to it because I hate being considered a part of some sort of fad, and I know that my friends and family that struggle with this do too because we're people and we have feelings. So when I first went to college in 2004, I started getting really tired. It progressively got worse. In about 2007, 2008, I started getting so tired that I would sleep for 12 hours a day if I could. I mean, I was in college. After 12 hours, I'd wake up and I would be shaking. I mean, I felt like I had no energy. I was constantly horribly tired. I was having headaches all the time. I just did not feel good. And I was having gastric problems, just a lot of stuff. I went to 2 different doctors throughout this time period. Both did blood work, and I don't know if they tested for celiac disease at all, but both of those tests showed nothing. Just FYI, the blood test is not completely accurate. The only way to accurately diagnose celiac disease that I'm aware of is the biopsy. So it's not a simple go get your blood drawn. So the second doctor that I saw, he actually brought me in and I had taken him food journals and everything because I was so sick and I wanted to find out what was wrong. He looked at me and he said, "You are perfectly fine on paper. I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you." So at that point, I just guess I had resigned myself to being sick. So fast forward a little bit, 2009, I graduate. I get married. My husband and I moved to Nashville, and lo and behold, a couple weeks later, I am struggling with depression. And I didn't tell anyone because I thought, this is weird. This isn't something I've ever struggled with. I'm newlywed. I shouldn't be having these problems. I'll get over it. Unfortunately, I didn't get over it. I still struggled with that quite a bit. On top of that, I started having horrible gastric problems. I mean, stomach problems I won't even describe, but I constantly felt like I was going to throw up. People kept asking me all the time, "Are you pregnant?" Which, no, I wasn't. I just don't feel good. I got so tired and fatigued, I could hardly walk upstairs without getting winded. I couldn't do things that I liked. My husband and I lived within walking distance of a water park that we had season tickets to, and we only went to it 3 times actually, because I was so sick. The 2 weeks before I tried the gluten-free diet, I was so sick that pretty much the only thing I would eat was watermelon. Every time I ate, I felt awful, and I didn't even consider the fact it could be a food thing. Anyways, I'd gone to another doctor and she didn't really know, and my mom, who never watches TV, happened to see Dr. Oz. And I'm not promoting Dr. Oz here. This is just the story. You know, take it or leave it if you like Dr. Oz. But my mom saw Dr. Oz and he was talking about celiac disease. And she called me and she was like, Megan, I think I know what's wrong with you. And she told me about it. And I was like, maybe, yeah, I don't know. Probably not, but I'll look into it for you. And I really didn't think I did. But I wanted to stick to what I said. So I looked into it and I went to this amazing website called celiac.com. And I went to the forums and everything that I read, I felt like I could have written it. It was like a blow to the chest. I was just like, oh my gosh, maybe this is what's going on with me. The least I can do is try it. And so I tried it. I went completely gluten-free. I did a lot of research, careful about cross-contamination and all of that stuff. And I started noticing significant improvements within 3 days. It took me about a year to feel completely normal again. But after about 3 or 4 days on the diet, I woke up one morning and decided that I should do dishes. And so I did. And normally I wouldn't have done that. I would have went laid on the couch and felt horrible about myself. After I got done, I cleaned the bathroom and the living room, and I walked upstairs and cleaned the bedroom, and I didn't even realize it. And I had turned around and I think, oh my gosh, I couldn't have done this 3 days ago. I literally physically could not have cleaned my house, which is a horrible thing, to physically not be able to clean your house. And so I was like, man, there's something to this. I'm sticking to it. So for you people who are like, just get tested or you're self-diagnosed, I'm sorry, I am self-diagnosed. I don't know if I have celiac disease or not because the doctors I went to didn't know about it. But if I wanted to get tested now, I would have to be on a gluten-containing diet for around 6 weeks. People say different things, but 6 weeks is a pretty good average. I'm not willing to do that. I'm a grad student. I work. I have a lot of things to do and that I want to do. And I can't deal with feeling that bad. So everybody's judgment towards me because I'm self-diagnosed is really hurtful because I have struggled to live a normal life, to feel good about myself and just be healthy. Things that you guys might take for granted. We don't take that for granted because we've been really sick and not known what's wrong. So please be careful what you say and how you judge people because you do not understand. You really don't understand the struggles that we go to and how hard it can be to find out what's going on. The second thing I want to address is I've heard a lot of people say that they criticize the gluten-free diet because so many people do it for attention. And I have a couple of things to say about that. First of all, if somebody's doing a gluten-free diet for attention, you should really not judge them. They probably need a friend because they're dealing with something. This is not something that you just do for attention. It's not like, dancing around in public and acting crazy or whatever. I mean, I don't know. It's not like that. This is a lifestyle. And so if somebody's struggling with that, you should have a little more compassion on them too. But the second thing I want you to think about is the fact that the vast majority of us who have experienced benefits from being gluten-free, it's not easy. Imagine that you've been at the office all day and you have to stay late or whatever. You're working long, you're tired, you haven't had time to eat. You're like, I'm gonna grab a bite to eat when I head home. Guess what? You might be surrounded by like 20 restaurants and you can't eat at any of them. So what do? I mean, you either grab a candy bar that is gluten-free or which makes you feel bad, or you are really hungry. It's like you just don't understand how difficult this can be sometimes. Imagine going to Thanksgiving and Christmas with your family and the foods that your grandma makes or the casseroles that your aunt makes or whatever it is that you love and you can't eat them anymore. And you have to explain to everybody why you can't eat them. And at first, they might not even believe you. They might think that you're just making it up or she'll get over it or whatever it is. And you have to continually explain why you're doing this. And then you get to sit there and watch everybody eat the things you love. I've literally gone into a bakery and sat with my family as they shared pies. And you have to just smile and act like you're not dying to eat that food because you don't want them to feel uncomfortable. And it's not fun because you think, oh my gosh, that looks so good. I haven't had pie in forever and I would love to try this delicious homemade pie. You guys really need to realize that your words can be really hurtful. This is a daily struggle for us. It's not something that we do for fun and it's not something that we do for attention. It is very real and it affects our health and our well-being, and sometimes even our mental well-being. So I just please ask that you guys do a little more research and don't be so critical. And one more thing that I do want to say. I've worked in food service, not like, I have worked in a restaurant, but I worked in Starbucks for quite a number of years, and I was a shift supervisor at one of the highest grossing stores in Texas. And so it was really busy, and we had really high standards. I understand what it's like to be in a fast-paced environment and to be trying to help a ton of people at once and keep all the standards, and then you have somebody waddle up and guess what? They're gluten-free, or they've got a dairy allergy, or they're diabetic, or whatever it is. I understand it's stressful and it slows you down, and just mostly stressful. I know the feeling. I understand it, but take the second and offer good customer service, because that's what you're getting paid to do. It's just what needs to be done. You don't judge somebody who comes in and says they're diabetic and want a sugar-free syrup or something. So why are you going to judge somebody who says that they have celiac disease or a gluten intolerance? It's not any different. It's very real. The other thing is, when I've had a waitress or somebody go out of her way to accommodate me, I leave a good tip, because I know it's not easy. So all of you waiters and waitresses, I know not all of you are doing this, but I've seen a ton of blogs from wait staff complaining about gluten-free people and saying that they're making it up. If you turned this around a little bit and offered some good customer service, I imagine your tips might improve a little bit, because we know that we're a pain in the butt and we feel bad about it. But like I said, it's how we've got to live